It's like pure entertainment, isn't it?
I think as far as a movie that's meant to be a comedy, it captured what they should be.
It's really like this roller coaster ride of sequences, really.
Not a film buff, haven't seen most of these films, and I'm loving it.
Talking to me?
All right, hello everybody. Hello out there in the world.
Welcome.
Welcome to the AFI Top 100 Films of All Time via the Video Lineup podcast.
Yep.
That's us.
I'm Nick.
I'm Thomas. And this week is episode 10.
High five, we made it.
We made it to double digits. Have we made it to double digits in viewers and subscribers? We will find out. Stay tuned. So this
How
week...
many times were we going to quit?
It's been at least 10 times at this point.
After each episode.
Well, we did it. We did an opening episode that was just us chatting for like an hour.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly easy to chat to somebody that you kind of get along with.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of. So it can sustain a nearly hour conversation with. After the hour point, it's like, ugh. But yeah, that was, so maybe 11 times we nearly quit.
Yeah.
We just didn't publish one episode. So this time, episode 10, we are at Singing in the Rain. Mm-hmm. This is great. 1952. 1954 was On the Waterfront. So 2 years after. Singing in the Rain. So this movie is a musical.
Yeah.
Set. Now, I knew nothing about this movie at all except for one clip on YouTube because my kids somehow got recommended to them. And it's not even the Singing in the Rain song. It was the one that the other guy does, Donald someone, and Make 'em Laugh.
Glover?
Donald Glover, yeah. He could probably do a good job of it. No, Make 'em Laugh, and he's dancing on his own. He does the flip and everything. They love that for some reason, just played on repeat. It just was like a movie clip. That's all I knew. And I knew that Debbie Reynolds was in it, Carrie Fisher's mum. So Carrie Fisher is Princess Leia, amongst other things. And that's it. And then essentially the storyline of this movie is it's set in that sort of crossover period between silent movies and the talkies. Technology's coming in. You've got
that was
1929, I think was sort of 1927, late 20s when they started to pivot and they made the Jazz Singer. Mm-hmm. And that was the first talkie they called them. Now we're all talkies.
Oh, that was.
Listen, this is a talkie.
Yeah.
I'm talkie. Yeah. What were you going to say? It's some amazing insight that you interrupted my brilliant stream of consciousness for. So essentially, the movie is a musical that's basically it's a story about this silent movie actor that is trying to make it work in the talkies. Yeah. It's not a very complicated movie. In fact, I heard the little piece of trivia I saw was that the entire movie is just hung off a bunch of songs that were already written. They wrote the songs and then they built the storyline to fit around the songs. Yeah. So yeah, what did you think of Singing in the Rain, Nick? I'm going to go straight to your opinion.
I surprisingly loved it.
Okay.
I'd never watched it before, knew nothing about it other than I think I'd seen that dance scene when he's in the rain singing.
I don't recall that part. Yeah.
But I just thought, like, I'm not a sucker for musicals, but I enjoy them. Love dancing, choreography. I'm not a great dancer myself. And I thought the story was interesting and the comedy, I'm not a huge fan of slapstick, but I thought some of the comedy was quite clever and intelligent in parts. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like pure entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah. I think as far as a movie that's meant to be a comedy, it captured what they should be. Because I think a lot of modern comedy I don't really like as much. I think it misses what a comedy should be.
What is that?
Fun.
Yeah.
Really at the end of the day. And I think if you can have an interesting story, which this was in amongst it, I think the problem with a lot of modern movies is we've lost the art of storytelling. So that's a big problem, but they're just not fun anymore. Often they rely on being dirty.
Cynical.
Yeah.
There's always sort of someone looking down on someone else.
And you don't finish the film feeling great. Whereas this, you're just like, that was fantastic. So.
Like we're looking at we did 2 episodes ago, we did On the Waterfront.
Yeah.
And you got this sort of like mumbling sort of realistic method actor in Marlon Brando, and his performance is really naturalistic. He's a real person.
Yeah.
You almost feel like he was just, everyone else was acting and he was just plonked right in there as a real guy with real problems. And then you go to this movie. So this is 2 years. The movie was 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
And it's an entirely different, it's an entirely different style. It's equally valuable in my eyes.
Yeah.
But you've got these big bombastic movements and like,
well, it's not trying to be real.
it's not trying to be real. That's exactly the point. It's so, it's expressionism, I guess. It's like this, there's a scene later in the movie where he goes into like this dream sequence with this other dancer who just happens, she's not in any other part of the movie. And there's this like this dancing on this amazing set that looks like it goes into infinity.
Extraordinary. That was probably my favorite scene. I was just like, it didn't felt like I didn't know what was going on, because he went into a moment where he's trying to talk about a scene that was going to be in the film, and I didn't see how it was relevant to the actual film, but I didn't care.
Yeah, I think you are not going to get with this movie. You're not going to get this just like narrative that just takes you through. I mean, you do get it. It's not like some art film where there's just no narrative, but it even opens with this whole like everyone arriving at a premiere thing, and then it comes in, the camera moves into Gene. All of a sudden he's going to tell a story. Okay, he's going to give us a story, and we're going to fade in to his, like, you know, what is in his mind's eye, I guess, of what's really happened in the past. And it's funny a bit because it's contrasting visuals with what, you know, his words are saying. He's saying he went to all the fanciest places, and then they're all dives that he goes to. And I'm like, okay, is this the movie? Okay, cool. And then you just come back out and then you go somewhere else. And it's really like this a bit of a roller coaster ride of like sequences, really. The movie, it's not really interested in having this clear modern take on things. It's like these things are happening and here's a song. And then they just do whatever is relevant, whatever they need to do to entertain you at the moment, you know?
Yeah.
And I think there's cool little moments where they're trying to film the movie and the microphone placement is bad, and it's funny. It's just actually funny. And if you are willing to just enjoy it and go, this is a 70-year-old movie, and it's equally as funny as movies nowadays. I would say even more so.
It's like that scene, like being funny. It would have been the reality. Like these people are transitioning from filming, where there's a moment where they're showing how silent films are filmed, and there's like one being shot right next to each other. There's like 8 or so in a row, and they could do that.
Yeah. And he could direct, he could just yell directions throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because they'd just use the visuals, they wouldn't use them.
And with the actors, they didn't have to speak well. They didn't even have to speak English. They just had to have expressions on their face.
Yeah.
And then going from that to everything has to be silent, and you've got to position a mic somewhere to capture this sound.
I know. I would be fascinated to see what the actual microphones they were dealing with back then was. Because if that's, I mean, I don't know how historically accurate. It's only like...
Because the microphone itself was quite... It's this big silver, like UFO type.
Yeah, it's like a UFO type looking thing.
Yeah.
You'd imagine that it would be really cumbersome, and I've got no idea. But technology moves pretty fast. So.
But they ended up trying to put it in her. She had like this flower.
Yeah.
Embroidered on.
I can't stop smiling because it was actually just. I just had such a fun time with this movie.
Yeah.
I would describe it as pure fun, pure entertainment. Like, you know, the famous sequence of Singing in the Rain, like, I mean, I don't know what type of person couldn't get enjoyment out of that sequence. You know, he's just in the throes of like feeling like he's madly in love with someone. It's raining. He doesn't care.
It's raining a lot.
It's raining a heck of a lot. He doesn't care. And okay, we've got to say how good, like I should remember the other guy's name. I'm going to check it because I don't want to say two of the main actors' names and not one of the other guys' names. He was really good too. But Gene Kelly, oh my gosh.
Did he direct it? Was he?
Yeah, with a guy called Stanley Donen, who also did Funny Face, which I believe had another, who's the other guy who's a really good, Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. So Ginger Rogers isn't in that they were a duo. It's Audrey Hepburn and Fred Astaire, I think, is Funny Face. And there's all these dance sequences in that. I've seen that one ages ago. And that's fun. Donald O'Connor, that's his name. I should remember that.
He's extraordinary. There's one scene of him, I can't remember what he's singing, but the energy that he brought to it.
Make him laugh, I think, is a scene. Yeah.
And he didn't look tired. He just, he's falling over himself. Like I heard someone saying he was trained as a professional dancer, but he's dancing in a way to look unprofessional,
which would be even harder
to do. And he's falling on the floor, running up walls and doing flips.
Yeah, and I also saw that he smoked like 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Oh, really?
So he was like completely trashed and had to go to hospital for a day afterwards. So I was like, I'm feeling more human now. But
they all of them just threw themselves into it.
Yeah,
and gave it their all.
This is true, like, filmmaking, like it's just Hollywood at its peak.
Yeah.
That's not fair to say. There's definitely so many good moments in Hollywood, but it's just pure Hollywood glamour and grit and hard work. I mean, we're filming in December 2023 now.
Yeah.
And in December, every year for the last sort of 5 or 6 years, we've watched White Christmas. Have you ever seen White Christmas?
I don't think so.
It's Bing Crosby, Rosemary Clooney, George Clooney's aunt, and who's the other guy that's in it? Is the vessel with the pestle? Anyway, it'll come to me. The opening, there's all this dancing and singing. The artistry of all that is just it's beautiful. It's just fun. Now, you don't have to love musicals, but just have a bit of fun with it. It's just like what I was saying about that sequence, the way Gene Kelly moves his body and bounces his legs around, and it's not just like, oh, wiggly wiggly. He's really, really good, and the camera keeps moving. Have you noticed the camera moves so much in this movie?
I didn't notice.
So there's like sequences of the cameras right in, and they come right out to show everything, and then they zoom right back in again, and you just know this crane operator would have been going. And
so everyone's getting a workout.
Yeah, I really think that the filmmakers, like obviously Gene Kelly being a co-director, they just wanted to make everything move and dance, and you weren't bored. And it didn't, I mean, my eldest son walked in towards the end of the movie and he sat down. He's like, what's this? And I'm like, it's Singing in the Rain. He's like, why is he dancing with that lady? What is he trying to do? And I'm like, shush, just let me enjoy this movie. And then the movie finishes. He only saw the last 15 minutes. There's no context. And he goes, boring.
No, my boys watched it. I've got a 13 and a now 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And they loved it. I could hear them chuckling away.
Oh, well, did they see the whole movie though?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, Walter didn't see the whole movie. He only just saw the last 50 minutes. And this is what I mean. Like, there's characters in the last 15 minutes that aren't in the rest of the movie, and then none of the context is happening. And they're like, who's this person? What's going on?
Yeah.
You needed to have a thread all the way through. But yeah, anyway, it's really fun. We're just going to rave about this movie for ages.
There was a factoid, which I found interesting, the way of recording it. So supposedly with musicals around that time, all the songs were pre-recorded and they'd just been miming along as they're filming it. But with the tap dancing, that is recorded after the fact.
Okay.
So they had, apparently it was a group of ladies which didn't get credit, where they learn the choreography, watch it, and then tap along to it.
Oh my gosh.
Record.
Could you imagine those days? Just day after day after day trying to keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be intense. All the dance sequences are intense. This also ties back to, this movie ties back to something we said about Wizard of Oz, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Even though that movie was 13 years before, that they had a lot of the songs in Wizard of Oz moved the story forward. None of these songs move the story forward.
Yeah, okay.
The songs are just songs about, they just go thud. They're right here. They sing, they entertain you, they dance. And it's like they have a thing. Actually, there's a song, Good Morning, Good Morning. Yeah. We've talked. I think my mum used to sing to me, little Good Morning, Good Morning. It's Kellogg's breakfast time, which I didn't know anything of what that was about. Must have been an old ad or something that they bought the rights to it. So even that moment, it's like they realize it's the morning and now we're going to sing for about
Sing
3
it in the
minutes.
morning.
At the end of the song, nothing's changed except for the song's ended. But you have such a fun time the entire time. Singing in the rain. He's just singing in the rain the whole time through. He's just, nothing's changed. At the end of the song, he hasn't had a realization. No stories move forward. Even some of the songs are like actually not relevant at all to the movie.
No.
Like there's the diction guy and they're just singing Moses something. Moses supposes. None of that has any relevance to anything. And, sorry, you say something else.
Oh, it's like the story's not, it's just sort of sitting in the background. The whole thing is to entertain and have fun, and it's the dancing, the singing, and they're trying to make you smile, and it does that.
Why do you think this movie is positioned at number 10 in the AFI Top 100 films of all time?
It's the skill and talent of the actors, the dancers, like the singings. It's not extraordinary, and I don't think it's meant to be that. But they're fun songs. Like it gets you singing along with it. But some of the scenes to shoot that, I imagine, would be pretty difficult. Like that scene you mentioned at the start of Gene Kelly dancing with that woman and the trail of her.
You mean at the end of the movie? Yeah. You mentioned the start of the podcast, but
how long was that? 10 meters?
It was such a long. Like the wind. I was looking at the wind machine.
Yeah.
Like how did there must have been someone operating the wind.
How many times would that get tangled up? Like there's moments where it wraps around Gene Kelly, and it's like, but that shot was perfect.
Yeah, and even the artists who would have made those sets, a lot of the sets are just wow. You don't see that in movies. The closest you'd get would be, well, we never get to see that as a movie. We know it's a set. Like you're watching this movie and they're not trying to hide that it's a set. Yeah. It's a place, but it's not really that place. There's a big stage in the middle so they can dance. Yeah. You know, we don't do that a lot. The closest thing I can think of was La La Land, and he shot in real places, but also had some sets, some things with that were sets. And it's magical. It's fun. It's a stage. It's, you know, the artistry of the people who are painting the sets, like that one towards the end, that dream place he goes to, like I couldn't work out where the floor was. What was the steps?
It's magical. It's like you're in a dream.
Yeah, it was. It was great. And if you, like the other one that was like a bar or something in that same sequence, you know, like a couple of minutes before, he's in some sort of, you know, bar having a dance. And we'll make sure I don't get cut, because in the last episode my camera angle cut before I got all my insufficient amount of close-ups. And and that bar, I noticed that on the walls they'd painted all of these lights, and it looks like there are lights there, and even like they don't try and make it look like it's real lights. If you look at, they've
gone to the effort to paint it.
Yeah, and I bought the 4K Blu-ray of it. So I was watching it in pretty high res, and you can see all the detail of it. It looks amazing. And they're just shining lights on the whole set from above the screen.
I think there's something refreshing when watching a film when they know what they're trying to do and they accept it and embrace it and just deliver on that. Yeah. You know, there's films where they're trying to be something and you can tell, and it's this awkward.
It's a misfire.
Yeah. Whereas this, it's a musical, it's a theatre performance, and they just so happen to film it.
Yeah, I agree. It's exactly, it seems to be exactly what they set out to do. And it's perfect. It's fantastic, and it's fun, and it's innocent. It's just innocent, and it is funny.
Yeah. I should have written some of the jokes down, but I thought, you know, at times some of the older movies can be cheesy, but I'm like, this is intelligent comedy. I really liked it.
I think it helps that Gene Kelly is extremely talented, and I heard he was a bit of a. From all the rumors around town. But I from IMDb trivia app and from a few other things I read, that he was a bit of a tyrant on set, but upon reflection, you know, like is a bit of a taskmaster and stuff.
I did hear that as well, but
the people like
someone was saying, to get the results that he did, you'd almost have to be that way.
I think you'd have to be, because you see
something subpar.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you. Like, I didn't understand what the AFI Top 100 list was or how they were ranking them. And I think now I've come to realize that the films are ranked because of what they offered to the cinema industry. And what is it about this film, do you think, that it...
Well, I think Hollywood loves itself, and I'm not being glib. I do think that's true, and I don't mind because I really like Hollywood as a subject matter. You know, like the cop movies that are set in and around Hollywood and all those sorts of things. And so I do think there's an element of this movie not only being probably just a perfect 50s musical, amazing example of choreography. It's, you know, beautifully shot. And also I think that it has this element of being about Hollywood and it being about this transition of technology. I think that's a big thing, you know, like kind of like, hey, we made a really perfect musical about transition into using sound. Yeah. And that just sort of like that one fact probably pitches it above other musicals of which I'm not particularly well versed in. I mean, I know that An American in Paris, I think there's a few that I've seen, you know, Wizard of Oz. Yeah. What's that one they just remade? West Side Story. That's is that in the 50s or 60s? I don't know. Maybe it's on this list. We won't bother checking. But it's made me want to go back and watch some of these other musicals because they're fun movies. They're just fun. And I think beyond that, that's to why they're on this list. I think it's that they've acknowledged that it's not only a perfect musical, but it's about Hollywood and it's about something they all love. And
I kind of felt it got me thinking about those actors that couldn't transition. It's like,
well, did you? I read something that said that the reason the story got kicked off, the screenwriters came up with the idea for the story because they had bought the house off a silent movie actor who had to sell it because they lost all their jobs because they couldn't transition into the new version. There'd be a lot of people that were like that.
There'd be actors and then directors like how
yeah, well, I mean, Hitchcock's a famous director who transitioned from silent.
He was, okay.
Yeah. I have a feeling a lot of the silent movie directors probably fine. I wouldn't have to research it. I'm sure there were plenty that would have dropped off, but lots of silent movie, like a director can just be quiet.
Well, I think you're sort of having to wrestle with the new technology, I guess. And it depends who was around you as well.
Yeah, that's true. I have not a great deal of up-to-date knowledge about who would have got fired and who would have kept their jobs, but it would have been a pretty challenging time, I imagine.
Because they implied in the film that there was another film company that had already adapted and changed.
Yeah, who did it? It was whoever made The Jazz Singer. So was that Warner Brothers?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're asking me.
So I know that it's Al Jolson who might have won an Oscar for it or whatever, but that was The Jazz Singer. So
they...
Which we should watch. Is it on this list? Yeah, sorry. What were you going to say while you asked?
Well, this company wasn't looking to change. They only changed because they were forced to, because Warner Brothers or whoever it was had changed and was getting a good reception.
Well, isn't that the story of technology in everywhere?
Yeah. It
just feels a little like, I'm looking through this list to see if The Jazz Singer is on here. And, number 90. No, so in 80 more episodes, if you sit around patiently enough, we'll get to The Jazz Singer. All of us will be at The Jazz Singer. Maybe there'll be some more people along for the ride by that point. I think that's just part of it with technology. I mean, you would resist if there's a way of working, and there's definitely economic reasons to not have to employ sound and, all of I think at that time, all of the cinemas or a lot of the cinemas were owned by the studios as well. That actually, they got them broken up so that they had to be owned by separate people because I don't remember when that happened, but I know that was something that did happen, so that now the cinema chains and studios cannot be owned by the same people.
Okay.
And so it's to do with fair market, so that other studios could get, your local cinema would, blah, 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 blah. There's always like resistance You know, there's always reasons to not adapt to the new technology.
Yeah, well, I'm
it
assuming they were making a lot of money doing what they were doing, and why make it more complicated?
Why make it more complicated? Just give the dumb people their dumb.
If you can film 8 films right next to each other in a small studio, that sounds amazing.
It's hard to even fathom what their mindset would have been, what the downside of it is, because a lot of the pushback against modern technology when it creeps into life is like, oh, why do we need this? This would effectively do something negative, you know.
Well, it complicates things.
I guess it does. So. Yeah, I don't know. Like modern tech, I'm not a massive fan of the internet, social media, all the things we're using to push this.
Destroy the internet.
Just because I think that the sort of personality-wise, that it has negative effects on me and what it's done to society. I think I'd thrive a lot more.
Well, you can judge each technology for what it is. Like introducing sound to film just enhances the story, so it sort of makes sense to go down that path. But
well, I guess now, like we've got technologies. We've had 3D. They keep trying to bring 3D back. No one wants to watch a 3D movie. Honestly, like if you got kids and you manage to go to the movies, the last thing look, maybe you do, but I'm tired enough as it is. You know, I don't want to have to try and stay awake during a 3D movie or come out with a headache. I saw the Mario Brothers movie with my kids and a bunch of other of their friends, and it was hard enough to keep tabs on these other kids. You got to stop from climbing around. Yeah, that should keep you alert and awake. But my eyes were so exhausted watching this. Yeah, it's like that's the only other technology beyond stuff that doesn't really affect the end consumer. You know, you've got audio and video. Once that's happening, or film, once that's happening, color. Really, color comes in. Probably people who push back against that, but it wouldn't have been as big of a change. Yeah. Then 3D, you know, then they had people trying to make like 4D experiences. 4D, you know, I think the guy William Castle, his name is, he made all these like House on a Haunted Hill and those sorts of things. And he had gimmicky type things to get people to go to the cinemas in the 50s.
Did you see that new... I don't know what you'd call it, theatre in America, where it's like this dome and it's like one big screen?
Oh, it's
like, is that the next?
That's in Las Vegas. It's the Las Vegas. Is it no, you said dome. It's something. It's the Las Vegas. Oh, we'll come back to it because it'll pop into my head. Yeah. But I was just thinking about technologies that have affected Hollywood. And the only thing I can think of now is they've just had all these strikes. They've had over AI.
Well, I saw the other day, there's a film that was like all the actors were like, it was AI generated and
awful. Was it awful?
I didn't watch it, but someone was saying this is the future. It's kind of like actors will be gone and it's just these AI will spit out the next hit movie.
Yuck. Well, it will spit out. What it will do is, you know, not to, you know, pick on all of these big tentpole movies that have wowed lately. Yeah. But it will just spit out more of that crap.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If that's what you want, you know, good luck to you.
Yeah. I think that AI. Look, what does it matter what I think? I've got no basis of it's all science and technology at this point. I can speculate. My opinion is that it feels like AI won't ever be able to reach the levels of creativity unless it becomes self-aware. And then I don't think we have to worry about what it's going to do with movies. I think you have to worry about what it's going to do with nuclear bombs and a sort of Terminator 2 scenario. Yeah. But it feels like it could never possibly reach the creativity levels that it needs to in order to make something that is like our last episode.
At the moment, it's what humans have done that's fed into it. Yeah. Then it's creating, and it's often subpar.
Initially, I think when everyone saw what it could spit out, it was like, wow. And now I reckon I could spot. Yeah, I reckon I could pick AI stuff. Yeah, largely, with the exception of the stuff they do that's real, like real people stuff things. Yeah, I mean, like I saw the ad where where they always try and get the Joe Rogan episode and he's interviewing people and they just get the people that his interview, like Joe Rogan talking to Jordan Peterson, and they're just both talking about some random product that they've never talked about.
Okay.
But you can tell you sort of, you put a distance between you and them and you go,
Yeah.
what's going on here? Oh, this is AI generated, you know?
Yeah.
You see those things and look, I could be wrong. It could go really badly and there's a reason to resist it. Definitely. It feels like certainly with the actors wanting to keep their rights to their images and things. But I only want to bring that up because there's only another comparable shift in Hollywood that I can see a need to push back against.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll, in 70 years, be sitting here going, you know, remember that time in Hollywood, you know?
Yeah.
And they made that funny musical about when AI came in.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk like this when I'm 100 years old.
Yeah.
107. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, but I think AI is one of those technologies that will come and it will go. I don't think it will be like sound that was introduced to film where it
Just
comes
massive.
And stays.
Yeah.
So.
I have no idea. Maybe it will on the back end, you know, like all the creative, like there'll be things that they can do just easier.
It'll be like tacked on to the human effort.
Yeah.
I think
We've really, we're taking this theme thing. I shouldn't acknowledge how we're actually going with podcasts, but I'm like, we talked about like touching on the themes of a movie.
Yeah.
And we're doing a good job of talking about the themes of the movie. I didn't even
Pat
mean
on the back.
pat on the back. Well, would you do, so we reckon this movie's held up, right? Stands the test of time. Is it rewatchable?
Yeah, I almost think it's one of those films you go back to again and again, kind of like a Christmas movie.
Yep. I can see myself wanting to watch this again very soon.
Yeah, just fun. I think my kids would want to watch it again.
Yep.
Like they were talking about it afterwards. So.
Yeah, it leaves you with a good feeling. Would you recommend it to the average punter? The average punter. Is that an expression that other people would...
Average Aussie bloke.
The average person out in the world there?
I would recommend it. I don't know if they would enjoy it. Like my wife doesn't like musicals.
Well, how did she go with this? She didn't watch
I think she enjoyed it.
Oh.
But her comment was before us watching it, she's like, I think you'll really like this.
Okay, so she knows.
Yeah.
She was...
So rather than sharing her opinion,
She was trying not to yuck your yum.
Yeah.
Did you know what that means?
No.
It means when you say, oh, I love a chai latte or something like that.
Yeah.
And then your chai latte comes to the table and I go, ugh, that looks disgusting. I just yucked your yum and it took away some of your joy and your enjoyment of something. Just because I don't have to like it. That's fine. Yeah. Anyway, that's the expression I use with the kids. And we said, don't yuck each other's yum. I don't know where it came from. Okay, so you haven't got a clear picture of what... Because I was thinking as we were talking about it of a few mates who are kind of blokey dudes and probably I could assume they wouldn't particularly like this movie just because they're not into musicals, they're barely into movies, you know, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm just like, okay, they're probably not the target audience. Not everyone can be. But everyone else, I think you'd have a good time with this movie. I think this is a Sunday arvo... You know, sit down, have a drink, get comfy.
Kids, family.
Yeah, it's under 2 hours. It's a lot of songs. It'll keep, I mean, the clips that we watched during COVID lockdown when we were stuck in our house in winter. And I remember the kids were just glued to these little clips of it. So, I mean, that's only like 5-7 minutes at a time. But it's definitely rewatchable and definitely recommend it. And what are we going to give a rating out of? Umbrellas?
Out of 5 umbrellas?
Microphones? Out of 5 microphones?
Tap shoes?
Yeah, out of, I don't know. Yeah, we'll just go with, well, I suggested umbrellas and you didn't jump on it. So now I feel like I can't go back and say, well, it's umbrellas, lock it in.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Also, can I make one quick observation, which as we seem to do whenever I go to the rating and like, actually one more thing.
Yeah.
I, just a random observation of no value to anyone except myself. I found it interesting. Debbie Reynolds, she's 20, she's 19 when she gets cast. She might be 19 making the film, but I think she's around 20, release and all that sort of stuff. An older male, 40 years old, I believe, that Gene Kelly was. Then you got 27-year-old, 30-year-old Donald O'Connor.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy? Sort of buffy blonde dude, right? Other dude's tall, dark.
Was he blonde? I thought he had red hair.
Did he have red hair? Oh, look. Same
Red-
difference
red,
sometimes. Let me see. Oh, now this picture's got him having black hair. Oh, these Hollywood types, they're messing with their hair all the time. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, Debbie Reynolds, her daughter, Carrie Fisher, gets cast in a role of a famous movie. She's facing opposite, and I'd be interested to know what year Harrison Ford was born. Opposite a tall, dark love interest who's significantly older than her, or largely older than her. He was in his late 30s, not far off 40. And a blonde, buffy-haired dude who's closer to her age but a bit older. And, I just found that the same dynamic she found herself in her first movie.
Yeah.
Same first movie, Star Wars.
Fascinating.
And you remember that sequence where Han Solo's, singing in space? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
There's a bit of a callback to this movie. No one else? Okay. I'm a good time. Everyone wants to hang out with me.
There was one. It reminds me of that one song where the guy he's got girls surrounding him, and it's like he's saying she's just over 16 or something. I was like,
she's barely legal. Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I've got like an itch in my nose now. I'm suppressing a sneeze.
Okay. Should we all wait?
No, it made me. That was very funny.
In anticipation.
I might just start like crying because of it. That was that was was that the one where there were different clothes as they were showing the passing of time of that performance or something. Yeah. So not everything's up my alley with this movie, but it's still fun. It's still a really good time. Yeah. Okay, out of what do you want? Tap shoes, umbrellas, you pick.
We're going umbrellas. Yeah.
Okay, this is a pity choice. We're going with how many umbrellas? Parapluies, as the French say. How many parapluies, Nicholas?
I'll say 4.
4?
4.5.
Okay, we have to give a reason why it's not 5, because it's number 10 on the American Film Institute's top 100. So. Well, these are all default 5-star movies.
For what it is, comedy musical, I'd say 5. But if we're comparing it amongst everything else, I'd say 4.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go 4.5. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think for me, the one thing that holds it back from being something that I personally go, oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Like absolutely wouldn't change anything. Is just that the songs I don't love all the songs. I think the Singin' in the Rain song stands out.
Yep.
Because it's just the best song, in my opinion. I like it.
Yeah.
And also I tend to like it when something's happened in the song. In the musical, like a character's moved forward.
Well, it's an opportunity to add to the story.
Yeah.
And they've chosen not to.
Yeah, well, in the 60s, you end up with Sound of Music. And usually, if I'm remembering correctly, things happen during songs, at least cinematically they visually characters move forward. So by the end of this, Do Re Mi song, they've bonded and spent all this time with it. And whereas these, they're just dancing in space and they didn't move anything forward. And that'd be probably all I change.
Yeah.
But it's not my position to change anything. 4.5, 4. That's it. We're good. We've done Singin' in the Rain.
We did it.
And we'll be rewatching it soon, but not on this podcast. So thank you, everybody. Sorry that my nose is making me sound really funny right now, if that's happening. Do I not sound funny? I sound beautiful.
You sound fine. I don't know why you brought it up.
Oh, so I all of a sudden...
You're snorting.
I really desperately want to sneeze, and at the same time, it's like I can't sneeze. And so it just feels like... Anyway. All right. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with us. We keep trying to make the episodes a bit shorter, but we just have a lot to waffle on about. Emphasis on we. We thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. Please. We would really like that because we want more people to join.
Let us know what you think in the comments. It'd be nice to have a conversation.
Yeah, we're all about the comments. Be nice. You know, if we know that some of our friends listen to this and you might text us and say blah, 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 just take your text and just put it in the comments so that other people know that you liked it as well, because we're having fun here. So anyway, share the love. We really appreciate everyone who's listened this far and is watching along with us. We really do. Are you having fun watching these movies?
Yeah. Not a film buff, haven't seen most of these films, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, cool.
There's a lot of great films on this, surprisingly.
Yeah, they picked some good ones. Yeah. Some old movies are good. And I am just jumping in here because we actually recorded this podcast in December. Thank you for listening this far. And then we just sort of forgot to post it. So we're a little out of sequence. We ended up having a lovely big wrap up all about our Christmas episode that will be forthcoming, which we've already posted because it is now April 2024. Next week, we will be back launching not the Christmas episode, which was last year and was It's a Wonderful Life, which actually is episode 11. And now this is episode 11. Next week, we will be doing Sunset Boulevard. I have my list here, same list from the video. Sunset Boulevard, going to be awesome. Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you there.